I don't want to be struggling with the tool that I'm using. I want to be thinking about creative decisions. Avid has always just made sense to me. I'm Liza Cardinale, ACE, and I was nominated for an Emmy for editing What We Do in the Shadows. What I love about What We Do in the Shadows is it is absolutely ridiculous. It is a completely insane premise, and yet it's played very grounded. So I find the comedy hilarious. Most of the cast is from England, so they have that dry British wit about them. There's a lot of improv that makes it delightful to edit. I never know what I'm gonna get on a given day from a performance. They surprise me all the time. So that's something I love on the job. And I also love to giggle on the job, and these vampires make me giggle a lot. We decided as a group to submit Pride Parade for season 5 because we all loved the episode. It also seemed to be a fan favorite. We love that it has so many storylines. It's juggling a lot. They're all pretty out there. They're all very entertaining. There's Nandor going to outer space. There is the neighbor Sean, who's always a breath of fresh air when he jumps into an episode because he's so goofy. And he is running for comptroller, so there's a little bit of a political motivation to his Pride Parade. He's trying to get the gay vote. And plus there's all these science experiments going on with Guillermo and Laszlo. There are a couple really nice montages. One of experiments, one of Laszlo luxuriating in the sun after he covers himself with Guillermo's sweat. So there's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on in a What We Do in the Shadows episode. But this one, we really felt like it hit on every level. I did not look it up online when the nominations were announced. But as I was driving my daughter to summer school, my assistant Hannah called me, and I answered the phone. I was on speakerphone with my daughter in the back seat. I just thought she was calling for a work question. And she said, "Did you know that Pride Parade is nominated for an editing Emmy?" And I said, "What? No." And so I was very excited. I actually did not look intentionally because I knew if I'm nominated, people will let me know. Somebody will text me, "Congratulations." I'd rather find out that way than sadly reading a list. Like, am I on there or am I not? So I was happy to just let it go and hang back and let it come to me. And it did, in the best way. I love my assistant Hannah, and I was happy to share that with her. Every episode of What We Do in the Shadows is very challenging. And I wouldn't say this episode in particular was more challenging or less. Every scene is a puzzle, and I think that's inherent to the mockumentary style because we're juggling interview, talking heads. We're just looking for B-roll to make the point that they're talking about in the talking head, and we're intercutting. So most of that is not scripted, how that's going to be laid out. Every episode just takes a lot of time, and luckily on What We Do in the Shadows, we're given a pretty significant amount of time for post, more than any other show I've worked on, and it's because of the complicated nature of editing the show. So What We Do in the Shadows, we use markers a ton because it's a very collaborative show and we're passing cuts back and forth between different departments. We need to communicate to each other. If we make a change, we communicate that this was a note from whoever and that's why we did this change. We just keep a record of everything we do in the marker tool. For me, every day I use asymmetrical trim mode a lot. And especially in comedy, you need that timing really tight. So I get my waveforms up and I basically go like this until it's pretty much waveform to waveform, not a pause in between. That's how most of What We Do in the Shadows is edited. We don't want a single pause unless it's a comedic pause for a laugh. I've only ever worked on Media Composer. I've never done a job with anything else, so being proficient in it has saved me on the job because I don't want to be struggling with the tool that I'm using. I want to be thinking about creative decisions. Avid has always just made sense to me. There's something intuitive about it I've connected with. I picked it up very quickly when I learned it, and I think that's important as an editor. You don't want to get stopped down by questioning how you do something. You have to think about what you want to do. Anybody who's interested in editing should do it and do as much of it as they can. And you may not love the jobs that you have to do at the beginning, but I would suggest you still take them because every experience is getting you more familiar with the tools, even if it's not creatively where you want to be. And that will help you down the line. Plus, everybody you work with, if you are professional and you show up and you're reliable and you're just kind and respectful to everybody, they will remember you and they will hire you again, and they may go somewhere else. I find that everything about my journey has been a very slow network that's built from job to job to job to job until it's this huge wide net. And make sure that you know the tools that professionals are using. So for me, that's Avid Media Composer. And do your research, because whatever your target is, you want to get to know that software better than anything else so that it doesn't slow you down.